My name is Will Blaisdell, and I'll be presenting my informative speech. With me today, I have my friends David, Sydney, and Lauren. Nothing's perfect. The world's not perfect, but it's there for us, trying the best it can. That's what makes it so beautiful. Roy Mustang, Full Metal Alchemist. The world of Japanese storytelling is a continuously growing and dynamic field. From the production of movies to the publication of novels, Japanese culture has managed to create a diaspora across the globe. The Japanese entertainment industry features timeless tales from veterans such as Hayao Miyazaki to more new generation mangaka such as Hajime Isayama. Today, I will delve into the rich history and evolution of this modern art, as well as display its global impacts on our society at large. Manga, which refers to Japanese comics, dates back to the 12th century with scroll paintings called emaki, but in the 18th century they were mass-produced by the ability of wood printing blocks. The first instance or coining of the term manga was actually used for a publication called Shinji no Yukikai. During the late 1930s and early 1940s, one particular man rose to fame as a popular manga artist, otherwise known as a mangaka. His name was Osamu Tezuka. He pulled inspiration from the American cartoons during their occupation of Japan and the Pacific Ocean during World War II. He created iconic standardized styles for manga, such as wide-eyed characters and stylistic movement, as well as devised a classification system for manga based on their demographic of age or sex that they appealed to. That is to say that shonen manga were directed towards younger men, whereas josei manga would be directed towards adult women. However, as of the current date, one man in particular has also risen in popularity named Naoki Urasawa, and is known by the wide community as a modern-day Tezuka. He is acclaimed for his publications such as Monster, Pluto, and 20th Century Boys, which follow the Gekige writing style. Defined by the Japan House Library, the Gekige style is a darker, more complex style of literary tales similar to Western distinction of graphic novels that are more niche than comic books. This can be applied to modern examples such as Jujutsu Kaisen by Gigi Akutami, Shingeki no Kyojin by the aforementioned Hajime Isayama, and the anime adaptation of Shinseki Evangelion. The developments in manga paved the way for the installation of anime into society at a much later point in history. It's disputed by historians about which animation or anime is considered the very first, but they've boiled it down to two. Either a short film made in 1906 called Kaisuro Shashin, or the first commercially broadcast anime named Dekobo Shingacho Maien no Shippai, which was produced in 1917. In an article by Japan Junkie, anime was able to spread quickly during the 1930s due to both regional broadcasting as well as government funding through education and propaganda. This process allowed many animators to rise to fame, like the ones prior. One name in particular is Kenzo Masaoka. Masaoka is important because, alongside his colleague Zenjiro Yamamoto, founded the first modern animation studio called Toei. Toei is responsible for big names and shows like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and One Piece that are projects that are still applicable today and are still getting revamped. Globalization became a hard process, however, because of the Western stigmas surrounding shows with main characters who were humans, according to Japan Junkie. The 1980s were widely known as the golden age of Japanese animation, because in particular, during 1985, the legendary Hayao Miyazaki and one of his colleagues, Isao Takahata, came together to form Studio Ghibli, one of, if not the most world-renowned Japanese animation and film studio. Studio Ghibli has revolutionized anime so much that the umbrella term of anime does not necessarily apply to all of their productions. They're actually colloquially known as Ghibli films, in part due to their stylistic choices as well as their uncanny content compared to their competitors. The Boy and the Heron, for example, won numerous awards this past year as well as an Oscar nomination. Other films include Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Howl's Moving Castle, Lupita Castle in the Sky, and many more. Just like manga's Gekige, the 90s called for a more dark and complex form of storytelling to fit its now older adult population. This theming would include things like complex narrativity, violence, and sexual activity. With the television adaptations of Shinseki Evangelion and other explicitly themed shows like Cowboy Bebop and Ghost in the Shell, the late night culture of anime began to officially solidify internationally. This was also aided by streaming services such as Crunchyroll and Funimation due to their translation abilities that allowed for subtitling in other languages. But what is the modern day application of or importance of this art form? Its applicability to our everyday lives. Contemporary manga and anime are causing consumers to be and act and think on a more introspective and critical thinking level. One particular publication that I have grown up alongside for the past decade is the aforementioned Shingeki no Kyojin, with its anime coming to fruition in November of 2023 and getting its manga debut in 2009. Remember, this was by Hajime Isayama, a newer gen mangaka. It's not only popular due to its narrative excellence and its visual style, but for its relative and thematic implications on our real world. Although the novel is complex and not necessarily suited for children, the manga and anime have become symbols of youthful independence, according to Dan Garrett in his symposium article, Superheroes in Hong Kong's Political Resistance, Icons, Images, and Oppositions. The article gives context to the socialist occupation of Hong Kong during 2013 and fleshes the threat of a dystopian future incurring. The manga's themes about protecting the world you know became a popular sign of rebellion and the atrocities of intercultural warfare. Although not necessarily relative to the American experience, there is something to say about our younger generations finding a way to protect their freedoms as well as gaining a voice. On top of relativity, the manga is especially good at showing reflections to our real world, according to the film and history analyst Tim Brinkhoff. He points out that the events in the second half of the manga and the anime closely resemble fascist activity during World War II. This includes the extermination and mistreatment of cultures, as well as international warfare. Although a work of extreme fiction, these installments remind the readers to take pride in their culture and protect their culture. But we need to be careful because, in the words of protagonist Eren Yeager, at one point or another, we will all become slaves to freedom. So, this is a sign to protect our posterity and protect our future that is to come. Anime and manga have proven to be timeless and heavily influential pieces of media that continue to inspire millions every day. However, this is not to say that it's not a very niche or well-known topic. In fact, manga and anime are both unknown to the greater public at large. But when I open my laptop and I get to watch a bunch of young high school men compete for their national high school volleyball championship, I can't help but think back and appreciate the time I got as a volleyball player. So, I hope that in some part, I have inspired you all to experiment with a new piece of media that has made a huge impact in my life, or at least piqued your curiosity. Thank you.